All right. So what have you been trading lately?
I've been let me mute this. I've been working this euro yen, not euro yen, euro kiwi position. It's coming. Looks like it's finally rolling back over. Um, but I day traded it around a little bit today. I did like 2,200 bucks, but probably got another 3 grand unrealized as this is rolling over.
Do you trade on mobile pretty often?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do, or like early in the mornings, or if I'm busy in the evening or lunch, and then
Mhm.
obviously when I was on the road yesterday, I mean, I traded on mobile all day,
Yeah.
so I was just buying dips on Euro Kiwi. I shorted Euro versus the pound this morning a couple times. I still have all these core Euro shorts, and then, um, but this is a pretty decent position. It's finally we got a topping tail here today, so my average keeps moving around depending on how short I get intraday. Um, but I think this can roll over with the daily cycle. I'm gonna move this window to see if we get some people joining in.
Yeah, we'll wait a few minutes and then then we'll just swap over to crypto.
Okay. I think I mean Bitcoin futures. I think we're just gonna we really need to retest the lows from February. I mean it's just slowly leaking towards those levels, and I want to see if we're gonna have any kind of energy, some volume come into the market down here. I mean, the near term's just been we have these little rallies and then we flag and fail. Little rallies, flag and fail. You really see it on the hourly, actually. Um, we trade in these small near term ranges and then we break. Small near term range and then we break. Essentially, we're just these little ebb and flows within the context of this 4 hour downtrend.
Yeah, so how have you been playing? Oh, wait, one sec. Yeah, how have you been playing these futures?
Um, so I was playing it on the short side as a hedge up until I think the end of last month or the beginning of this month. Once we got back here towards 6,500, I think I covered all of my short here on this day. So I was selling rallies on the short side, short cover. And then we had this big flush down, and this was back towards the big picture, lows that we keep wanting to be long in front of. This whole zone, you know, this is the whole buy zone right now. So I don't want to be short. I think there's a lot of people they want to make money every day in crypto, and
Mhm.
the easier money's been on the short side. But you can't just start being aggressively short at these levels because you're going to get caught if and when we have another big bottoming move, and then we finally have a multi-week or at least 3 to 5 day rally. Everybody that's
Yeah.
shorting, it's short in the hole, so that's the last thing you want to be doing. So what we've been doing is slow. I mean, I maxed out pretty much of my cash and my crypto portfolio being long all coins like a week or so ago. So I don't have a very tiny cash position. And then I usually will use up all my cash first and then go to the futures. So I've got more buying power on the futures side. So I've just started to get even more long futures,
Here,
but I'm still just nibbling. So I think I'll take a bigger stab on futures if we get below 6,000.
mhm.
Probably run some stops below six and then try to get aggressive.
So what is the Bitcoin price doing right now?
Futures are 61.10 BTC.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just bouncing around. We're just kind of sitting at pi here on the 5 minute day trade. Let's see what this 15-minute looks like. Hey, what's up? What's up, Stafford? What are you guys doing in YouTube land? Futures have been pretty slow. I mean, this was again, we flagged, we broke, we failed at the bands here. Every rally we just is met by lower highs, lower high, another lower high at the top of the bands in the 30-minute.
Yeah. Do you want to say the pricing too? Just so for the
61.
audio.
Yeah, 61.10. You guys are just listening. So this market's just been making lower highs on the 4-hour chart going back since I'm going to refresh it. So we had that bottom in April, and then we rallied and double topped at 9,780, call it.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, the market's been making lower highs in the intermediate term. So 9,400 lower high, 8,600 lower high, 8,500. Every time we rallied to the top of the bands, we failed. So the last time we got to the bands was 7,700. We failed. And we rallied just shy of the bands again at 6,800. We failed. So as you kind of bring that staircase down, you're creating these pivots for the intermediate term. The clear pivot now is 6,800, which was the pivot from last week. So you're not going to get any type of bullish momentum until we get above 6,800 now. And if we go sideways here and then we do drop below 6, you're going to have another pivot probably around 6,200. We'll see. It depends on how this shapes out. But I nibbled at 6,500, 6,300. I'll probably put some bids in just below 6, like 5,900, 5,800. And that'll probably bring my average down around like 61. If you can be, I think long term, if you can be long around 6,000 here, you're in pretty good spot.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people calling for much lower prices than that, but I just don't understand why someone would even think that, or from a trading perspective, at least trying to manage your risk that way.
I mean, I don't see it. Technically, there's no reason to make that call until you break February lows, which we haven't even done. You know, it's like if you're making a call for Bitcoin to go below 5,000, well, did you make that same call at 10,000? Because I don't understand the fundamentals haven't changed down here to make that call. But then if you want to say, well, technically we failed at this trend line, blah, 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 should we go to 5? I mean, just because you fail at a trend line doesn't mean you're going to go. The major low is still intact, which is the February low.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to make a call that we're going to go lower than that until that's taken out. I mean, that's just the if-then type of scenario you want to play, you know. So I'd rather be long, and then if we break 5,500, you break 5,000, then play defense. But until then, I mean, you still have, we can go to these cash charts in a second, but we still have Ether still above its February low. Litecoin's really, really cheap compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum right now.
Yeah, Litecoin took a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Which is weird why relatively it took such a big hit compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Kind of curious why it did.
Yeah. I'll have to look at these charts. I was just looking at YouTube. Allison on Bitstamp. Well, yeah, that's a cash market. I was just referencing futures. But I mean, Bitstamp they're not really a major exchange.
Bitstamp does some pretty good volume, but yeah, it does depend so much on what exchange you're looking at.
Yeah. So I think you got to look at it in an aggregate.
Yeah, clearly it just went down there, grabbed a few stops, and it seemed to close down there.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just looking at the FX market here. Um, I'm net short euro versus Kiwi, and then I want to see a rally here, and I'm gonna start shorting more into it.
Mm-hmm.
And short euros, that's kind of had a big move down today.
Yeah.
Um, we've had a good month. I don't know if some of you guys know that. I think it's key. We can you can trade crypto. That's kind of what we focus on a lot on this channel. But at the same time, when crypto gets slow, it's nice to trade other markets. So we day trade forex a lot. Um, there's a couple of these forex sites that have signals that we offer. I tend to be. We've been leading on the. We've been at the top of this leaderboard over here on forex signals for since we joined it. Really, have just been we've just been doing our thing, but we've been grinding out like 2% a day. I think I've got the top.
Yeah. People try to force trades in markets that just aren't moving at all.
Yeah. There's just nothing going on compared to what I've been doing in crypto. I mean, I think I've done 25 grand this month just trading basically short euros. Um, but so I've been a little bit more focused with kind of building this out. Anyway, we can talk about that in another stream.
Yeah. Do you want to run down all the major coins?
Yeah.
Yeah, there hasn't been too much in the news lately. I mean, there's been a few decent headlines, but none of them really seem to have any effect on the chart yet.
Yeah. Let me get this volume off. Volume has just been, look how narrow this is. I don't think we've seen an average volume down here.
No,
It's pretty low in October, relatively speaking.
hey, maybe all the people that wanted to sell have sold.
It's probably getting close.
I think that's kind of what happened last year. 2015 into 2016. It just sat at a consistent price just under that 1,000 level for, I think it was almost for like 6 months. I think everyone that wanted their positions got the positions they wanted, and the volume dried up, a quarter, I think, of what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook ads. Facebook, did you see the headline? I think it was today. Facebook changed their policy again, and they're allowing certain cryptocurrency advertisements.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
they
just
backpedaled on what they put out before?
oh yeah, yeah. Just still no ICOs or like binary or anything like that. But which, I mean, I guess probably sets them up to put out their own coin eventually, or their ad revenue just took that big of a hit. It's one or
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah. Who knows what they're doing? They should stick to worrying about the people's data. Well, this guys, the intraday lows. I mean, you gotta look at it on a closing basis. So we're basically right at it. I mean, we did move through it intraday on Bittrex, but these are areas. So if you want to get crazy and start shorting the market just because you broke through it by like 0.5% intraday, I think you're kind of asking for it. So I'd rather treat these as areas. I mean, we haven't had a daily or weekly close below the February low, especially on GDAX. I don't, you know,
Yeah.
just flirting with it. But we could break through it in the cash market, and futures still have a distance to go. We'll see which one matters more. If it's the futures market with the bigger money, um, I don't pay attention to these other little exchanges.
Yeah, it'd be kind of difficult to really get them all.
Yeah.
Just focus on the one or two.
Um. So we'll see. Let's look at the cycles. I was traveling yesterday on all weekend, so
Yeah.
We talked about last week, June 21st, we had a turn on this cycle and we produced another subsequent lower high. So this has been the last three cycle turns have all produced lower highs. And I wanted to see if we could maybe get some bullish or real money candles, something that stuck out here on the cycle turn, and we didn't get it. So the next cycle turn isn't until the next benchmark is July 5th. So maybe we fall into next week. Now we're starting to have the longer term waves play out. The weekly comes in around July 23rd, and then a monthly cycle from basically 8.6 months down from the high puts you into, August. So August, September.
Hmm.
But the 24th will be important. I think that wave matters pretty good. We bottomed at the top of the cycle. You had a cycle inversion here back in April, March, and is when the market went on a several week rally. So
Hmm.
maybe from a timing point perspective, we got to wait until low into July. That maybe we take out the February lows and shake everybody out, and then that's your low.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I mean, that's pretty much when that last market ran up last year was end of July is when it really started.
Yeah, and there's some other pretty prominent cyclical people we follow, and none of these guys are YouTube. These are professional guys that run money for and they advise central banks, and they've got cyclical lows into July.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, just from a feel and a sentiment perspective, it doesn't seem like we're going to close. It doesn't seem like we're going to reverse and close June on a
You don't think
uh,
so?
bullish note. I mean, how many days do we have left? 3, 4 days left of trading.
Yeah.
So maybe we get the turn in July. We're getting closer. Probably do need to get through the summer before crypto gets exciting again. Look at some of these others. Ether, we've had some pretty good calls. I mean, we made some pretty good sales last week. The market rallied like 9%, took some off. I put some lots back out today. So we made some sales here in the middle of June. Now we're starting to put those lots back on. But the lows on Ethereum aren't, I mean, 350 was
Yeah.
April lows. So we could easily just slide into that area. Bitcoin Cash is taking it on the chin pretty good. It's all about trading around this intermediate term. If you buy stuff well and then you trade out of it, that frees up your cash so you can come back in and buy more lower. So if you buy, we bought stuff pretty well here at the end of May. You had another lower high. If you bought stuff well into this last dip in June, it made sense to come out of some here on this bounce. But again, it's just the same bounce to lower highs. So I added some stuff back today. If we get up towards 500, I'll spit part of that out again. And I mean, I don't see why we couldn't trade to 370. So I want to try to keep trading it around and leave some cash on these bounces in case we do take one more leg into 350, 360. It just helps you work your average down and take advantage of, if you buy too high and you use all your cash, then you get to sit through the drawdown and you need a bigger percentage move up just to get back to break even. So trying to work into your position, even though
Hmm.
the market's making lower lows, is a little bit of an art, but that's kind of how you bring your average down. So then when the market does turn, um, and we haven't put out any aggressive buy calls yet. Um, we haven't turned the corner. So if you guys kind of can see, the last time we sold off into April, we put in all these lower highs. And right now we're still in the same process. So until we stop this pattern of lower highs, there's no reason to get really aggressive. But at some point, what you're going to do is you're going to stop making lower lows, and then you're going to start making higher highs. And that's what we call the right-hand side of the cycle, or the right-hand side of the chart. and that's the time to get aggressive. So we had that call into the mid-April.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we buy here, it's a slower, more methodical process, but it's patient nibbles, and then there'll be a time to get more aggressive once we stop making lower lows. I mean, bottoming isn't one point in time; it's a process, right? So there's usually several lows, and then you can start to see the market making higher lows, and then you start to turn, and the market structure changes. So still kind of waiting on that. It looks like if I just eyeball, if you just kind of think about how we turn the corner here on Ether, you still probably wouldn't turn the corner again till
Mm-hmm.
July. Till July. That's kind of how Ether chart's shaping up.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And it'll be interesting too that if Bitcoin starts to crack the February lows, and if people are kind of overly focused between different exchanges on certain levels that break, or even if futures take out the February low, and you still have Ethereum above 360, 350, I think that'll be pretty good divergence. It'll be interesting to see maybe if Ethereum holds, never makes a new low, and that's like the leader on the next rally. I mean, the market likes to trade where the most pain is. So to stop everybody out through 6,000, through 5,800 in futures, and then have that kind of capitulation to the downside.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that playing out. But anyway, we want to watch Ethereum. That's the big level. That's the big area, 350. And then Litecoin. Litecoin, we bought some stuff, and I haven't even had a rally to lighten up on. Unfortunately, we just did this small pennant formation, and then that broke. I mean, this was just, I mean, so that broke, getting below 90. If we get a chance to come back up here towards 90, 100, I am going to take off some of this position because I think we'll get another lower low or lower high at some point.
Yeah, you don't think it's has its bottom yet?
No, I don't know. It just trades. Ethereum trades a lot better. I mean, we broke the February lows in Litecoin, weeks and weeks ago. We rolled through Pi here. I don't even know what support is down here. I mean, the base from October, November is like 60, but that's still a pretty big drawdown to sit through. So I want to actually pair some of this long back if we get another rally. That one's been beat up pretty good. If we look at on a relative value basis, let's see how cheap Litecoin was. Let's go on with that chart. The data screwed up on that one. I think it's because I had Bitcoin Cash tied to Bittrex, and I think they changed the symbol over there. That might be why this is messed up.
Any other exchanges you can grab it from?
Probably, but it'll take a while to reset the chart. I'm going to deal with it, and we'll just look at this other one I got saved. That's the daily. Daily, they're trading pretty close. Bitcoin's definitely on top there. Nothing really sticking out. They're trading pretty close together. Spreads really widened out last week. So what else did I do today? I didn't do much other than buy a little bit ether as far as the majors go. If we get another big drop, I took some Bitcoin Cash off pretty well. I may pick up my exposure on that. Show you guys here. Remember which exchange we sold on. Yeah, see, they changed on the chart with Bittrex exchange. Anyway, we were selling above 1,000, like in the 1,100, 1,200 area with the top of this daily cycle. And now, so that's again, if you buy stuff well, but then you take on those rallies and you raise a little bit of cash, you come back in here, you can basically buy the same amount of coin or more. I mean, this is what percentage down is this? 30, 40% cheaper. Pretty good support on Bitcoin Cash around 600. Might just put some bids down there. Add back to that. Today I did buy some more Aeon. Did you guys talk about that, Alec, in the last podcast with Noah?
A little bit, yeah. Noah's pretty excited about it. Price isn't really reflecting in the project though, but
yeah,
But
this is an opportunity longer term. I mean, yeah, the price was looking pretty bullish up here versus BTC, but I mean, would you rather you want to buy low, not chase the highs? So I doubled. Let's see, I increased my position by 50% today on this one, and I think it's what's the actual dollar figure? Basically trading right at par. Right back to $1.
yeah, it's a pretty surprisingly big downtrend. It can't really go too much lower. It's not much room down there.
No, I mean, especially versus BTC. And then salt's pretty low. I didn't get it. Did anybody grab any salt below $1 over the weekend? Well, guys are trading nano. It's been just making lower lows. And what was the other one I added to today? Kiwi's breaking a pretty big level. I'm going to sell more. I'm just looking at the FX market.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't really pick up too much. I picked up a little bit of basic attention token, Enigma. I think that's really it. I've just been kind of using this opportunity to add over on the board just a little bit.
Oh, we added the Cardano today too. Enigma, I should look at that. Euro is just in free fall today, breaking 116. Just dropped another 50 pips, so we've been course short there. Dollar is just strong. Probably one of the strongest assets on the planet right now. I'll cover some of this Euro Kiwi. What else are you guys trading lately in crypto or other markets? Gold's back to 1250. That's kind of was our call. We got through, couldn't hold 1300. That the big level weekly higher lows from months ago kind of coming around 1250. We're trading 1251 now. basically up at 12.59 this morning.
Man, that nano chart's not looking too good.
Yeah. Cardano, though, back at 12.5 cents. I think you want to be a buyer. I grabbed a bunch today. I think Cardano, this is going to be one of your biggest winners. When we made that call on Salt and Cardano here in April. When we cycle back up, this is probably going to be another big percentage gainer. I mean, Salt we like down here, Cardano. I think that Aeon's going to do really well versus BTC. You know, some of those smaller names like Enigma or Nano, you keep those positions a little bit smaller relative to the more established projects, but you can definitely work a position.
I've been trading that just a very small position, but that Pearl Oyster still, it's almost all the way back down to its lows. Kind of the same thing around the board. Kind of looks like Nano.
Yeah.
Looking at Zcash there.
0x, I think, looks good down here. I think you buy 0x all the way back to the lows. Just keep averaging in. You was a little bit of trouble here when we broke the bands. That just confirmed this intermediate term weakness. Allison, you've been short since 9,000 that night. That's nice. So you've been covering into 6, or are you getting more aggressive into the lows? You guys want to look at quantum? All right, Allison. See, okay, I got you. So you're not an adder. Okay. That's a pretty good trade. I think you would be definitely wanting to take some down here. I guess if you're playing on the short side and you play for a break, cover into new lows. If you break 5,500, 5,000.
It's not a whole lot of other interesting news going on this week. EOS has been performing as exactly how everyone else expected.
Metal? Oh, man. That coin still trades, huh? Oh, metal. Let's see. Let's look at quantum, I guess. Oh, Uphold expands access to security tokens through broker-dealer acquisition. Security token.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they register as a broker-dealer, just like Coinbase.
Is that what we're calling these things now? Security tokens? What does that mean? I mean, are they talking about ICO projects?
Pretty much anything other than Bitcoin and Ethereum.
You know, I had an interesting call with some guys at a big money management firm in New York. And they were saying that they thought it was a mistake that CFTC or SEC or was classifying Ether as not a security, because you're going to that takes all the mutual fund industry out of the ability to invest in the space, um,
Hmm.
which is a big deal. So I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean, there's obviously ETFs that track commodity prices that do really well.
Hmm.
You know, like GLD or any of the precious metal ETFs or any of the ag ETFs. But it brings up a good point. If you're really bullish crypto and you think that all these funds getting into space is the catalyst for the next move up, and then we end up not classifying this stuff as a security, and then you can't have all the big mutual fund money participate. Um, there's a big difference between a few hundred, several hundred billion in a commodity fund versus 10 trillion in mutual fund world.
Hmm. Yeah,
Quantum looks. Go ahead out.
I was going to say, yeah, it's just interesting that I had something to say so quickly, and the way they phrased it was pretty interesting too, about how things can change into, it might have been a security at one point, but now it's enough decentralized, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a look at Gollum there, and not much action.
So Quantum's weekly versus BTC. I mean, you're pretty close. This weekly cycle looks like it wants to turn. And there's a lot of weekly cycles that want to turn. The daily, nothing but lower highs and lower lows. Quantum's low is back in March, and we traded below it. And you got a daily close below it. This one just, I mean, you could nibble on it, but it looks like you might retest the December lows. Um, Unfortunately, that's just a chart that's making lower highs and lower lows with basically breaking the big weekly pivot. So I think you got to be patient there. If you're looking to add, you might get a shot at buying it better. If you don't get the levels you want from December, then I'm okay buying higher, but give me higher lows to buy instead of trying to get aggressive on lower highs. So in other words, you want to see this pattern of lower lows start to change, and then you start getting higher highs and then higher lows and get more aggressive buying the dips on higher lows. You're probably not going to see that till you get back above the bands here. Uh, let's see what's the next one. You guys are trading that ONT. Oh, metal.
Yeah, metal took bigger hit than most, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think metal got delisted from Bittrex or something. I guess what kind of was a catalyst there.
Yeah. I just don't know if that's something that's really a game changer longer term. I mean,
No, it's not really.
you know, it's not really. It's just like, I don't know. This is one I'd rather be bearish on. I mean, it had a chance to hold all these lows and it couldn't do it. It's just been bearish. You're at all-time lows. Um, I don't see much to hang your hat on there to be on the long side. Any type of rally, I'd probably be using that to come out of this position. That's just not one we really like. Bands are all bearish. I don't follow this one at all. Let's see. It trades pretty well when you price it versus BTC. It's actually making higher lows, holding on to the bands. That chart looks pretty good. What's EOS doing lately? Binance, that's still one of the strongest charts on the planet. EOS are sliding back into the 200. That makes sense. I mean, we sold really well here, basically the same day that the market made its high. So I would start to think about starting a position again back here towards the 200. I have a better way to chart that one. Yeah, versus the dollar. Not a lot of data on that. Not really helpful. Nice. Look at the Merkle. Monero price is in green territory where others remain in the shallow red. Okay.
Anything for some clicks?
Monero's hanging in pretty well. Ripple's back on its lows from April. I still think you want to be a buyer of Monero all the way back to 75. It'll be back above 200. Oh, you guys want to look at nulls? Now Brazil get another goal. Nice. Who got the second one? Nulls looks, guys, Nulls is coming back into this base that it settled into from March to April. So you can start to build in and work a position. The risk is that we break these lows here. 3 major lows on this chart. It was kind of intermediate term trouble when you couldn't hold the bands. Typically, that means you get a move back to the 200. I don't have a pie line on this chart, but more than likely it would come in somewhere kind of in this area. So it lines up with this whole long-term support. If you're a buyer there, see if we get the market to turn, that'll look pretty good. You can add to it when you get back above the 8. Again, this all kind of lines up with more of a turn in August. And then your risk is below those lows. We've had some really good moves on those. I mean, we caught it here. I didn't trade it for this. I should start paying attention to that one a little bit more. Neo, I want to start looking at a bigger position. Gas is pretty cheap down here too, guys. Gas looks like a buy versus BTC. I mean, anytime you get something like, I don't really know how to classify it, but when you're pricing gas and BTC and you're above the bands, you want to be taking profit or taking some off into strength. And then when you get really deep below it, like here, I'm gonna start adding back to this stuff. If you get gas back to these levels, I mean, I think that's really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna add back actually here. This small bottoming tail here. These cycles are weird, huh? We've just been flatlined down here.
No volume
the other way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just zero energy. Gas looks pretty good. I haven't put out a signal on it in a while. Neo. It's probably not the best chart on Binance. Back to support there. Does Neo have the Ant shares price in it? Bitrix? Probably not. Well,
maybe. I think so. Yeah.
So here we're back to the base, the October, November, December base. This is getting really pretty cheap longer term. Everybody want to talk about NEO at 160. Now is the time to be quietly accumulating. I'm starting to, NEO is next at the top of my list to add to. And then salt. Salt 0x. And NEO and gas down here. Zero X looks pretty good. It's probably going to hold those lows from a couple months ago. Now I'm just playing salt all the way back to zero. I think some of the guys in the room picked it up at 90 cents. Vercoin Hassan bring up an interesting point. I think that one looks pretty good too. I know they've just been. I think that is. I guess you could say that's the argument, right? Is Lightning Network, Bitcoin scales, blah blah blah. I think it's pretty technical too. You couldn't get when you broke 90. There's just a lot of selling pressure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how Vercoin fits into scaling. I actually haven't really looked into it. Vercoin's just always been that quiet coin.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people like to mine it. Yeah, I don't know what the use case is for Vercoin. It's not like people.
They're like they changed it's like ASIC resistant, so they changed it pretty often.
Versus BTC, I mean, we've had some nice trades on this.
Not too sure if Hanson, I'm not too sure Litecoin's dead because of Lightning Network, because Litecoin's going to work on Lightning Network. It'll just be quicker settlements.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does kill the use cases in a lot of these instant transaction ones.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same story. You could have said the same stuff 2 months ago. Litecoin was a lot higher. I think it just broke some big levels. So it's just feeding on itself. And again, I don't have anything on the Litecoin chart at all. Once we broke 90, it's just nothing to hang your hat on. It's tough to say, oh, I liked it at 90, and then, well, I'm just going to buy more at 50. It's like, it's going to sit, you lose half your money. Bitcoin looks pretty good here, longer term. I think if you get, that was a low for August, pretty much there. If you're just starting to look at this coin and you're buying now and then you buy more, even if you just did it in 2 shots, it'd be tough not to be able to make money, I think, if you're long from right down near these lows. At some point, you're going to get another ramp back to the bands. There's a lot of room back to the 200 above the market. I kind of like those other names before I would want to put any capital into Vercoin, though, unfortunately. How's Zen trading? Kind of hold the bottom of this range. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to finish up some trades here in Forex.
Yeah, not much else to look at here.
Yeah, it's just kind of another slow day. We'll see. For those of you that are in the room, I think I will add again in futures. If we can get closer to 6, maybe 5,800 would be nice. Double my long in futures, and then in the meantime, you guys will probably hear from me in adding to this, taking another round on salt. What I just talked about, 0x. It'd be nice to get a little bit of at least a 2 to 3 day rally to come out of some of the stuff that we bought and raise a little bit of cash. I don't know if the market's going to give us it though. Just sold Euro Kiwis again into that 5-minute bounce. That was a pretty good sale. Well, Alec, did you have anything else?
Not too much. Just give us a follow, guys, so we can, when we release our podcasts and any other updates, you'll know.
We'll have some. We'll see. I'm just getting back from a little trip to Chicago, so I didn't do a whole lot in crypto over this weekend. But we'll probably have a little bit more. Like to kind of put together something for Friday that's more specific to trading or kind of cyclically what we're doing in some of the other markets. So you guys can kind of stay tuned for that. And then I'll have these Forex signals up. I know a lot of people are interested in, I mean, it's one of the best markets in the world, especially the day trade. Not very many people that are openly out there putting out signals and trading every single day. So I do that with my Forex traders. And so I got some new stuff coming out on as far as these copycat trading signals are going to be available. It's going to be so cheap. I mean, you can follow my trades, link up your accounts, basically doing 1 to 2% a day. And I'm going to probably price it between $100 and $200 a month. So, I mean, just on a small account, even, $50,000 account, I mean, it's probably 1%. You're doing $500 a day. 2% is $1,000 a day. So I think we maybe had one losing day trade last month. I'd have to go back and look, but I did 25 grand on this account's up to 90,000 now. So I did 25 grand in a month, basically cost you $100 to follow the signals. That's just unheard of. And as far as managed accounts go, so I'm gonna be working on that the rest of the week. I'll have some more info for some of you guys that are interested. Maybe we'll roll that out Friday. You have to set up a VPS, which is, so the server will stay connected, even, if I turn the computer off or step away from the desk. But anyway, that's what I'm going to work on the rest of the day.
All right.
You guys good, Alec? Anything else in the stream?
No, not much else to add.
All right, guys. Thanks for popping on. We'll maybe try to do a live stream tomorrow. Or definitely, we'll do some more hits. Just let us know what names you're looking at.
Yep. All right. Till next time, guys.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you.